Okay, let me ask you this. Have you ever gone into a liquor store and you know the MSRP on this bottle of bourbon should only be $80, but there it is on the shelf, $125. And you got the store owner looking at you like he's doing you a favor. But you're looking at him like, what you talking about, Willis? What are we talking about here? This is the three-tier system. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What is it? Why is it? And why are sometimes bourbon prices are so completely out of control with no rhyme or reason, right? And why is there a bottle of bourbon right now, of Weller, on a shelf with a payment plan sitting right next to it? With the interest rate the way it is now? Psh, please. Let's get into it. What's up, bourbon lovers? My name is Keith. Welcome to the Bourbon Shop. And today, the three-tier system. So, what is the three-tier system? It is basically the structure most of the United States use to sell alcohol. So, it comes in three tiers. There would be the producer or the distillery, the distributor, and then you have the retailer. So, the first tier, the distillery. Places, companies like Buffalo Trace, Heaven Hill, Wild Turkey, the producers of that fine liquid that we all love so much. They distill it, they age it, they bottle it, then they sell it into the system. So that first tier is the distillery. The second tier, okay, well, that's the people who brings the product to the masses, the distributor. So they take it to the stores, the bars, the restaurants. We can call them the middleman of this system. And honestly, that's where a lot of shenanigans start. And then we have the third tier, which is the retail stores, the bars, right, the restaurants, where we go purchase bourbon. Okay, so but it's important to understand that in most parts of the United States, distilleries do not sell to the public. Now, it may be occasion if you go do a tour, they may have a special offer where you can buy a bottle of bourbon right at the distillery. But for the most part, yeah, they don't operate as retail stores. Yeah, they're not your local liquor store down the street with 3,000 barrels of bourbon in the back storeroom. No. So you might ask, okay, well, Keith, why does this three-tier system exist? Well, to really explain that, we got to go back to Mobland, the Machine Gun Kelly days, back before Prohibition. Before Prohibition, a lot of distilleries had a lot of power and influence as far as who would buy their alcohol, right? It was like very territorial. They had authority over stores and saloons. Some of them even owned saloons, and they call these tide houses. And again, that was very territorial and kind of dangerous to cross the line. So the governments wanted to stop that after Prohibition was over. They didn't want to go back to those days. So they wanted to cut back on the aggressive alcohol sales. They wanted to cut back on the monopolies of the whole situation, the corruption that they had, and the lack of regulation, taxes. So in other words, the government was like, I see what you're up to. Y'all need supervision. We're not going back to the Machine Gun Kelly days, okay? We're going to regulate this. So we're going to break it up into three tiers. But to be fair, now, I know this three-tier system is not a thing that we may love, but there are some pros to it. So let's talk about the pros and cons. Let's go into the pros first. First, it helps to regulate the sales, and it helps the government to collect taxes more efficiently. Why is that a pro? Well, government collect these taxes and they do things for the people, right? They fix the roads and the bridges. All right, let's move on. But y'all know the government love their money. They got to get their taxes. Uncle Sam, I need to talk to him. The second pro is that it prevents a distillery from having too much power, monopolizing on the whole situation. So no single distillery can control everything by controlling retail stores or bars or who gets what, and they don't set the prices. So the third pro we could say is distribution, right? So this enables the bourbon to be moved across large areas or regions quickly. The bourbon can get across the nations, to the stores, to grocery stores, the bars. We don't have to drive to Kentucky to pick up the bourbon, or Indiana, or Las Vegas, or wherever that bourbon is made. But because of the distribution, we can get our hands on many different types of bourbon. Now, the fourth pro is smaller stores, like your little mom and pop stores. They can have access to the products as well, in theory. Now, they're supposed to spread this throughout the regions evenly, or whatever the case may be, but that may not feel like it, come towards allocation time. Sometimes mom and pop stores get left out of that season. They just can't get it. But that's not on the distillery, that's on the middleman, the distributor. Shenanigans. Okay, so let's go to the cons. Things that people complain about when it comes to this three-tier system. And the first thing is the middleman price, right? There's a middleman price in all of this that sometimes we don't find in other lines of business. For instance, Wonder Bread, make the bread. They sell it strictly to the retail. There's no middleman there. They have their own delivery guys. So it's a two-tier system. With alcohol, again, we're talking three-tier, and they all add a price to the process. The distillery sells it to the distributor for a profit. The distributor sells it to the retail store or bar or restaurant for a profit. And then the retailer sells it to us for a lovely profit as well. So sometimes, you may not find things at an MSRP. Sometimes that MSRP price is just like a fantasy suggestion. You may see it and you may not see it. Con number 2, allocation power. Shenanigans begin here because the distributor decides where or who get these special allocated bottles, right? They decide, and more than likely, who you think they're going to give it to. The bigger stores that does the most turnaround, because they're selling this for a profit. And sometimes that mom and pop shop might just miss out on that. Or they can get an allocated bottle, but they have to pay a price. So if you're ever going into the store and you saw 15 cases of Fireball sitting up front, that might mean they have one allocated bottle back there because the price to pay. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Store Owner, you got 15 cases of Fireball. Now I get you one bottle of Blanton's Gold. Yes, sir. Yep. You want another one? All right. Well, I got some cases of pickle flavored vodka. No. People love it. They sell them like hotcakes. Yeah. Just got to buy 10 cases. So the third con is inconsistent pricing. You go to one store, the price might be right at MSRP or maybe slightly above. You go to another store and it's like $20, $30 above MSRP. No rhyme, no reason. Just what he wants to do. There's no regulation there. I know. It's horrible. And the fourth con is for small distilleries. Craft distilleries, they're just starting out because most of the time when they start out, they have young bourbon to push. Maybe 2.5 years old. It might have that young, grainy, grassy, ethanol taste to it. But they have to get into the rotation with the distributor, right? They got to talk them into buying their product and unloading it to other people. Like the small mom and pop shop for another bottle of Blanton's. So some might ask, well, why does it still exist today? I mean, we are far removed from that mob, gangster, organized crime era. Well, the truth is it benefits a lot of powerful groups, like the government. Number one, Uncle Sam. It's easier for them to get their tax revenue through this three-tier system. Let's say it benefits the distributors because they keep their influence. Large retailer stores, they benefit from the allocation season. And plus, it's just deeply embedded into the U.S. laws for decades. So changing it now would just really reshape the whole industry. And honestly, a lot of money depends on the current system that we have now. But at the end of the day, bourbon lovers, the three-tier pricing, just something that we have to deal with, have to live with. It's here to stay. So understanding it, it helps us to understand why bottles become allocated, or why prices vary so much, and why is there a bottle behind the shelf at the local store where the price tag is higher than your electric bill. But don't fret, because honestly, sometimes the best bourbon is the bourbon that is still reasonably priced, sitting on the shelf. Because bourbon should be enjoyed with your friends and not financed. Well, bourbon lovers, if you like this episode of the Bourbon Shop, please leave a like in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and in the comments, leave a comment. Let me know what's the craziest price you've seen bourbon priced at. I'll see you next time on the Bourbon Shop. Cheers. Oh man, I shouldn't have bought that bourbon. This time I pay my bill.